Gaur. The gaur is the largest living species of wild cattle, native to the forests and grasslands of South and Southeast Asia. It has a powerful body, tall shoulders, curved horns, and dark brown to almost black fur in adults. Gaur usually live in small herds and spend much of their time feeding on grass, leaves, and other vegetation. They are especially important in tropical forests because they help shape the vegetation as they move through their habitat. Although they look similar to domestic cattle, gaur are much larger and have never been fully domesticated. Wild water buffalo. The wild water buffalo is one of the largest members of the cattle family and is native mainly to the wetlands, grasslands, and forests of South and Southeast Asia. It has enormous crescent-shaped horns that can spread wider than those of almost any other living bovine. Unlike domestic water buffalo, wild water buffalo are powerful, wary animals that often stay close to rivers, swamps, and muddy areas. They feed mostly on grasses and aquatic plants. Their wild populations have declined heavily because of habitat loss, hunting, and mixing with domestic buffalo. African buffalo. The African buffalo is found across much of sub-Saharan Africa and is one of the continent's most successful large herbivores. It has a heavy body, dark coat, and distinctive horns that grow outward and then curve upward. Large herds can contain hundreds of animals, although smaller groups are also common. African buffalo can live in a wide range of habitats, from open savannas to forests and wetlands. They are important grazers, and their movements help influence the structure of African grasslands. Wild yak. The wild yak comes from the high mountains and plateaus of Central Asia, especially around Tibet and the Himalayas. Its long, shaggy coat protects it from freezing temperatures, while its large lungs and powerful body help it survive at extreme elevations. Wild yaks usually feed on grasses, herbs, and other low-growing plants. Compared with domestic yaks, they are much larger and more muscular. For thousands of years, people living in high-altitude regions have depended on domesticated yaks for milk, meat, wool, transport, and fuel. Banteng. The banteng is a wild cattle species native to Southeast Asia and parts of Indonesia. It has a compact but powerful body, with males generally being darker and larger than females. Banteng live in forests, open woodland, and grasslands, where they feed mainly on grasses and other vegetation. Some populations have also been introduced outside their natural range, including in northern Australia. Their close relationship with domestic cattle makes them an important example of how wild bovines have influenced livestock history. American bison. The American bison is one of the most recognizable wild bovines in North America. It has a massive shoulder hump, a large head, thick fur around the neck, and relatively short curved horns. For thousands of years, bison were central to the ecosystems and cultures of the Great Plains. Their numbers collapsed dramatically during the 19th century because of large-scale hunting and habitat changes. Conservation efforts later brought them back from the edge of extinction, although modern populations are still much smaller than they were before European expansion. European bison. The European bison, also called the Wisent, is the largest land animal native to Europe. It has a high shoulder, a heavy head, short curved horns, and a thick mane of hair around its neck. European bison once ranged across much of the continent, but hunting and habitat loss caused their wild populations to disappear in many areas. By the early 20th century, the species had become extremely rare, with conservation programs using captive animals to rebuild populations. Today, European bison once again roam forests and protected areas in several European countries. Anoa. The anoa is a small wild bovine found only on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi and nearby islands. There are two recognized species, the lowland anoa and the mountain anoa, and both are far smaller than most other wild cattle. Their short horns and compact bodies help them move through dense tropical vegetation. Anoa generally live alone or in small groups and feed on grasses, leaves, and other plants. Their restricted island habitat makes them particularly vulnerable to hunting and deforestation. Tamaraw. The tamaraw is a small wild buffalo found only on the island of Mindoro in the Philippines. It is much smaller than the Asian wild water buffalo, but it is still a powerful animal with a compact body and short, sharply curved horns. Tamaraws live in forests and grasslands and are mostly active around cooler parts of the day. Because they exist naturally in only one island region, habitat destruction, and hunting have had a serious impact on their population. The tamaraw has become one of the most important symbols of wildlife conservation in the Philippines. Kouprey. The Kouprey was a large wild cattle species believed to have lived in the forests and open woodlands of mainland Southeast Asia, particularly Cambodia. It had long legs, a tall body, and large horns, with males being considerably larger than females. The Kouprey became extremely rare during the 20th century because of hunting, habitat loss, and other pressures. No confirmed sighting has been recorded for decades, and many scientists consider the species likely extinct. Its uncertain disappearance remains one of the most notable losses among the world's wild bovines.